New evidence now. The Obama administration is possibly the most secretive in history, throwing its weight around to silence reporters. Former New York Times editor Jill Abramson revealing details of a phone call she got from the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, warning her not to publish a story. And he wasn't the only one. She recently told an audience, "I've had Obama administration officials literally say more than once, quote unquote, 'You will have blood on your hands if you publish this story.'" Joining me now, Chris Plante, host of the Chris Plante Radio Show, and Leslie Marshall, a syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. Great to see the both of you. Blood on your hands. I mean, this is a little bit different, Leslie, is it not, than just saying, you know, in the interest of national security, we'd really appreciate if you didn't come out with this just now?
I honestly don't. I think this is more of a pleading, not a threatening to her. She certainly had a choice, and she made that choice not only during this administration, but after 9/11, as most press did, in the best interest of national security, to comply with requests from the White House then and now, to be very responsible, as she put it in her speech, in real time. And that was a choice she made. She also said that she does not regret that choice. So I think it was more of a pleading than a threat when you're talking about two major terrorist heads of organizations.
Right.
And specifically, if you remember, they asked her not to print the names.
Right,
not
correct.
the story, but the names.
And Chris, with all due respect, after 9/11, the Bush administration did the same thing. You know, we were living in a new era, and they talked to reporters and said, you know, there's going to be a lot of things that we really don't want all the details out of there, like we do with troop movements and things like that. But I guess my question to you, Chris, is this administration in any way different from the ones before it?
Well, in many ways, I think this administration has put more people in jail for speaking to the press than all other American administrations combined. As we know, this administration has tapped into the phone records of the Associated Press, of James Rosen at Fox News, of James Rosen's parents. They've engaged in dangerously insidious behavior when it comes to cracking down on the free flow of information to the press and, by way of the press, to the American people. And that should be duly noted. At the same time, I don't want to get all, you know, in agreement with Leslie here on this, but I covered in my previous incarnation, before I discovered the glories of talk radio, I worked for a news organization, and I covered defense for 10 years. I was assigned to the Pentagon. And when you're reporting that we've tapped into communications between the head of Al-Qaeda Central and the head of Al-Qaeda on the Arabian Peninsula, you're giving away the story here, and they're going to change their behavior and their habits, and that could lead to Americans being killed. Well,
what about when Bob Woodward came out, Leslie? I think it was last year in February, and he says that he received a threat from this administration. Somebody told him, I believe it was Gene Sperling, "I think you will regret staking out that claim." He viewed that as a veiled threat against him.
Again, I don't think it's a threat against the journalist. And Chris, I would agree with you that, and with Ms. Abramson, that this administration has been more secretive. But this is also the first president post 9/11. I mean, yes, George W. Bush was president after 9/11, but it was during 9/11 too. And I think every president going forward, we are living in a different world.
But Leslie,
I mean, these
a lot of the
terrorists have different ability to hurt us here.
So do you really believe that the reason that the administration was looking and tapping the phones of James Rosen and his parents had to do with terrorism?
I want to be clear. I want to be clear about that. And I said that right here on Fox News Channel when that happened, that I think, especially as a member of the press and loving my First Amendment right as much as all of you, that was disgusting and uncalled for. And I would agree that this has been more secretive, but I don't think regarding Bob Woodward, I don't think regarding Ms. Abramson that these were threats, but they were more so pleas. And like Chris said, when he was in his position formerly before being a talk show host, there could be blood on people's hands as a result if you name some of these names against the
and you could also use that reasoning when you call up reporters and tell them not to print something. I got to wrap it there. Chris and Leslie, have a fantastic day.